Okay, today we're tearing apart a Seagate external hard drive that is obviously not working. I kind of got ahead of y'all. I started to take it apart and thought, hey, maybe somebody would be interested in seeing how one of these things comes apart. And just as well because it wasn't very easy. So this is an old one, so you probably won't see this kind anymore unless it's bad. And you start off with 4 security screws down there, and none of my security bits would fit. And even after I broke the little centerpiece out of the security bit, or out of the security screw, I just still couldn't get them out. So I took it out to the garage on the drill press and I just drilled them guys out. So once you get those 4 screws off the bottom, then you can remove the top like that. We'll set that aside. And as you can see, there's no magic in here. It's just a regular old hard drive. I'm not sure if it's an IDE or a SATA. It looks like it's an IDE hard drive, because you can tell that here because it's got master and slave jumper settings, and those were on the old IDE drives. And as old as this guy is, I would imagine it's going to be IDE. So the next thing, again, I got ahead of y'all. There's 4 screws right here that hold this whole metal centerpiece in there. Now once you get those 4 screws out, you can just pull this guy out like that. We'll set that piece of plastic aside. So now, this is about where I stopped and decided to bring you guys on board. So now we'll just go ahead and take these apart. We'll just take out all the screws and shake it until we get to the part that we like, that we're trying to get to. I found that usually works. Just take all the screws and shake it until you get to the part you're trying to replace or fix. So, and look at there, just like we thought. That is an IDE drive, which is a bummer because I was hoping to just put a new SATA drive in there and give it back to the person and let them be able to use it for backup. But such is not the case. So, and this thing's really in there pretty good. Let's see. Let's try taking these ones out of the bottom here. So as you can see on the bottom here, there's some screws that go into the hard drive, and they got these little rubber cushions, and that's to help keep vibration from affecting the hard drive, and also the vibration of the hard drive to keep it from resonating back onto your desk or whatever and making a noise. This thing did kind of make a little hum when the person had it on their desk. So we're just going to take these screws out and see how much that loosens the hard drive. So yeah, looks like it's pretty loose. Yep. Okay, so I was wondering about these screws because you could get to them through there, but it looks like it's just a metal shield. So we'll just pull that guy out of there. So this is the power, obviously, and then this is the data. Now, if you see one of these cables, actually this isn't one of them, never mind, but on these old IDE drives you had to select master and slave with jumpers, which are these guys right here, and the key that tells you which position to put that jumper based on what you're trying to do is right there. And it'll be on any drive that's an IDE. If you have one of these, if you have a cable like this and there's a hole punched in it, that means it's a cable select cable, and that means that the cable does the selection. You don't have to mess with the jumper, but this is old technology, so you don't have to really learn that unless you're trying to put together some old machine. And this right here is just the interface between USB to IDE. And the cool thing is you can actually pull this piece out and use it as an adapter if you're trying to connect to an old IDE drive and you want to use USB. Of course, I have the power supply over here. You need like a 12-volt power supply, and then of course the data cable. This is just an on-off switch that this thing used to use. So that's all it is, 120 gigabyte drive, and I bet you in the day this is quite expensive. I'm going to try and hook this up to a USB controller I have and see if I can maybe get some data off of it. It wouldn't come up in Windows, but maybe Linux. Maybe it'll work in Linux, so I'm not real hopeful for that. So anyway, we'll give it a try and see. I think the person's data is already backed up, but sometimes when you get a drive running like that and you show them what's on it, they suddenly realize that maybe they didn't have some of that stuff backed up.